is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Oh my goodness, T, it is so good to be back. As you see, I may have got a little bit of a tan on my face. You probably can't tell because of the lighting, but you know it's good to be back in the saddle right here on ATL Day Ones. And also, guys, we want to thank y'all for rocking with us last week. While I was out, you know, I knew you all weren't going to go anywhere anyway because y'all like looking at Tenitra better than y'all looking at me anyway. I've come to that conclusion. But thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review because that's just how we are and who we are. We are 5 stars in your eyes and our mother's eyes as well. But see, we got a lot of good stuff on board for today. The Atlanta Braves, they lose a series against the Dodgers. It was a lot going on. Freddie crying. He got his World Series ring. He cried again. It was just a lot, just so emotional when it comes to the Atlanta Braves. But they were able to keep a winning record over the weekend. And also, the Atlanta Hawks. It seems like D-Day is coming towards the end of the week when the basketball season starts on Thursday. You know, free agency begins. A lot of conversations going on. We're going to get into all of that. And then lastly, and for the culture, we're going to talk about the origin of for the culture. And we're going to get into all these conversations about Steph Curry and what he is and what he isn't. We're going to put all that to bed. But before we get to all that, we got to talk about the Atlanta Braves, and they lose to the Dodgers 5-3. And it just seems like in this game, T, it was just a lot of missed opportunities for the Atlanta Braves when it comes to potentially winning this series and kind of moving on and sending Freddie Freeman back on his way.
Yeah, I think when you have a 2-0 lead and Spencer Strider gives you all that he can, I mean, Spencer Strider was literally there for 6 innings, no runs, no walks, literally erased what we saw in his last outing where he gave up 6 runs, right? And he was able to really show command and show how he's expanding that arsenal, right? One of his pitches, 100 miles per hour, and he literally struck out Freddie Freeman, and Freddie Freeman did not know what hit him. And it looked like everything was going well enough for the Braves to be able to win a low-scoring game. But when your middle relief comes in and does what your middle relief did last night, that's when you start to get a little bit squeamish. And don't get me wrong, it's ups and downs. So Kenley Jansen can give you most nights a masterful close in the ninth, right? He can give you the save that you need. Last night wasn't that night. So the Dodgers get it to extras, and then the Dodgers rattle off 3 runs, right? Once they're able to tie things up to send it to extras, they rattle off 3 runs. The Braves get virtually nothing except 1 run in that offense. And that's the thing that was kind of disappointing. It was a missed opportunity where your starting pitcher gave you every opportunity to win the game, but you didn't give him what he need in terms of run production to be able to walk away with the win.
And you know, and that's the thing, because that's, like you said, therein lies the, you know, missed opportunity piece, right? Because there is a, you know, if Matt Olson has just maybe a half an inch more vert, you know, the game is over and the Braves win the thing and he gets the save and they kind of move on, like you said, and, you know, getting that win and be able to gain another game on the New York Mets in the National League East division.
Yes.
So that's the thing that, you know, that really matters the most. I mean, I understand the whole Freddie Freeman piece and how, you know, that's what they're supposed to do, but you have to look at the situation for what it is, right? Like, they missed an opportunity to get closer to the Mets, and the closer they get to the Mets, we know that more than likely the Mets are going to Met. But T, I want you to tell them about a little situation what we got going on Bet Online before we get into why the Braves may be in good shape as they get ready to take on the Phillies.
As yes, indeed, because all is not lost just because they lost that last game in the homestand to the Dodgers. There's still a lot of positive things coming out of Braves country and a lot of positive things for those of you who want to check out betonline.net. You know why? Because it is the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. So you can find out the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including, if you didn't already know what was going down for the Stanley Cup final, although I was sad that the Avs won, but hey, kudos to those who bet on the Avs to win, and of course, Major League Baseball as well. It's sports wagering info. If you're really just getting into it, it's a great resource for getting you acclimated to it, live betting, esports, scores, and it really remains that best spot for sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. Fast and easy. Just check out that website today on your mobile device to learn more about the trends. Again, that is betonline.net. That, Jarvis, is where the game really starts.
No doubt. Make sure you go and check out Bet Online because, like you said, the Braves are going against the Phillies, and they might, they don't have Bryce Harper, so you might want to put a little change on Bet Online. And I think that, the Braves are in some good shape because, Charlie Morton will be on the mound, and I think that is something that, it's going to be something to be looking forward to because, the Braves have the day off.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Acuna got injured on Saturday. He came into the locker room on a little medical stroller, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and people were kind of looking at him crazy. But I think that it was more so just from a preventative maintenance type thing because he said it was feeling a little sore. So I think that if they can somehow get Ronald Acuna back, he only be out a couple of days, and
Right.
and kind of stretch him out a little bit. Maybe he can DH. Not necessarily play in the field. I think the Braves can get back on track and do what they're supposed to do against the Phillies.
But if he can't go at the plate, one thing I do like, especially in the Giants series, was Dansby Swanson in the leadoff position. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise for us, right? Just to be able to say, if for some reason Ronald Acuna Jr. can't go, or if he has the day off and move Dansby Swanson from the 2-hole to the leadoff spot, he hit a leadoff home run in one of those Giants games. And he didn't have such a great leadoff record against the Dodgers, but that's okay because, again, I like what we saw with him in that Giants series. And I think you made a good point as well earlier. It's not just about what we saw in one game or two games against the Giants or the Dodgers. It's really what we saw across that 7-game stretch that told you this is a barometer, right? These are two teams that are battling amongst themselves in the NL West, but one of each. So any one of those teams could be the one, either of those teams could be the one that the Braves face in the postseason. So I thought that the Braves walked away 4-3, would have preferred 5-2 because that probably would have meant they won both series, right? But still 4-3, a winning record as you get set to go on the road. And then you have another test of the Phillies. Like you said, they're down a man and Bryce Harper. And that's not just any man. They're down a guy. And we know here in Braves country what it looks like when you're down someone in the rotation. Another good thing, a couple of good things that happened for the Braves as well, maybe not an immediate dividend paid, but kind of looking on the other side of All-Star maybe, is the progress that Tyler Matzik is making.
Yes,
the fact that he's thrown a couple times. He of course, is down in Augusta at single A. So coming along slowly, and Eddie Rosario with a couple good games in AAA Gwinnett these past few nights, so he's coming along, and those are things that are encouraging. A couple
take your time, Eddie.
Sunday games. What'd you say?
I said, take your time, Eddie.
See,
slow roll it, baby. Just take your time, my brother.
got jokes all the time. But hey, you look for any silver lining there as players make their way back to give the Braves more resources and hopefully get back to the point of being and having an embarrassment of riches at just about every position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that, it's as they get more healthy, I think that the Braves are going to be in good shape. I'm not concerned about them losing the series against the Dodgers. I'm not going to lose my shorts for that one. But the one thing I might lose my shorts for is this doggone list. We are in the season of list. And we know how that is. One of our colleagues, Randy McMichael, hates them, but, it's kind of cool to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. So AJ Terrell, we all know how that sophomore leap he made because he made an amazing jump last year. And I think that, when he was targeted, like it was nothing. Like people understand what it was when he was targeted because there was some issues on the other side that made teams like, yeah, we're gonna go over here. We'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
And I understand that you have to put some type of context with that when you're talking about grading cornerbacks out. But I think this might have been a little bit too low. CBS Sports put out a list. AJ Terrell, the 9th best cornerback in the league. I don't know about you, but going through that list, I saw a name that kind of popped out that could make a very good case for and for swapping them out, and that's Trayvon Diggs. Because Trayvon Diggs, now don't get me wrong, the numbers, the picks, and all that stuff, I get it. The 21 PBUs, the 11 picks, I get it, but a lot of that stuff was he's more of a gambler and not necessarily a coverage guy. AJ Terrell is a coverage guy, and it's hard to kind of grade that out. Man, look from an eyeball standpoint. That's why people go to the numbers when it comes to cornerback sometimes. So I think if I'm talking about replacing somebody, I'm at least putting them I'm swapping him out with Trayvon Diggs at 5. What about you?
Same, because when I looked at that list, Jarvis, at first I felt some type of way because I was like, what is this foolishness? Because when we look at Pro Football Focus, they even tweeted out, so we're still underrating AJ Terrell, are we? That was a tweet from Pro Football Focus today, and I couldn't agree with them more because I still felt like even though the numbers may not have matched up for AJ, I felt like 9 was just low. Now look, I'm looking at players like Tre'Davious White that's just ahead of him. Okay, I'm gonna give you that, right?
I respect that. I'll give you that.
I'll give you Kenny Moore. I'm gonna give you Denzel Ward. Okay, I got no problem. And even players that are ranked above Diggs, I'll give you J.C. Jackson, Xavier Howard, and look, nobody's arguing with Jalen Ramsey. It's just the truth of the matter.
Not at all.
However, I agree with you wholeheartedly. When I look at the numbers, and look, Jarvis, you could do apples to oranges if you want to, or you could do apples to apples with AJ. Like you said, 3 interceptions, 16 PBUs, a forced fumble, a sack, and 81 combined tackles. You look at Trayvon, all right, 11 interceptions, 2 defended touchdowns, 21 PBUs, blah, blah, blah. But I think the bottom line is this: whether he is playing right near the line of scrimmage, as does AJ Terrell, or whether he is playing down the field in coverage, that's the key word: coverage. You're always concerned about where he is, no matter whether it is your short passing game or your long passing game. Whereas everybody knows that they figured out how to get Trayvon Diggs because, like you said, he is a gambler far more than he is a coverage guy. And I do think that matters because to me, that tells me Terrell, the game slowed down tremendously for him, and he's starting to be able to read the offenses to know where that ball is going and to anticipate things. I just don't see that same level of play from someone like Diggs, and not to call him out, but to call him out because I just didn't see anyone else on the list that made me scratch my head. But that one was a head scratcher.
No doubt about it. And, it's a thing where I think this year you may see those numbers for AJ Terrell from an interception standpoint jump a little bit because you have somebody who's much better on the opposite side of the field because you're like, okay, we got to go somewhere. You know what I mean? And I think that AJ Terrell will be able to take advantage of some of those opportunities he's going to get because I wholeheartedly believe that this Falcons defense will be better under DNPs in this year because I think that he has much better talent. And I think, just from a potential standpoint, I think Pease is going to take advantage of this opportunity to be able to show like, hey, I know I had to skim things back last year from a playbook standpoint. However, with better players and these guys having a better understanding of what's going on and what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to be, you're gonna see that sophomore leap under Dean Pease's regime defensively, and I have no doubt in my mind that is going to go down. But what I have no doubt that you're gonna come back right here on ATL Day Ones because guess what? The Atlanta Hawks, they completed the draft, they've done their thing, they got AJ Griffin in the first round, and now it's time for free agency and trades. It's going down on Thursday. What will the Hawks do? We will discuss that next right here on ATL Day Ones. with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On.
Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra Batiste, and welcome back, Jarvis Davis. We are so glad to have him back, and so glad to have you guys back with us this week as well, getting us over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So keep subscribing, keep getting everybody to come to the page and like us and follow us. And of course, wherever you check out your podcasts on various platforms, go there, give us a 5-star review, because last week we brought you 5-star content and 5-star guest hosts, and this week we got our 5-star host back in the building, Jarvis Davis. So again, welcome back, my friend. It is a perfect time to come back, because guess what? The NBA draft, it may be behind us, but there is still so much to talk about when it comes to the draft and the Hawks, because hey, free agency in the NBA, otherwise known as a real soap opera, is still just ahead. We're a couple of days away. And Jarvis, the buzz has remained with the Hawks. What are they actually going to do, especially after a quiet draft night, right? So the assistant general manager, Landry Fields, talked about the fact, and he said, quote, "We've been mandated to get better, and we want to get better." And then our friend Chris Kirschner of The Athletic wrote, "It's obvious that the Hawks view one of their pathways to getting better as trading Collins. Everyone expects it. He's done in Atlanta," according to one of Kirschner's sources who is close to JC. So when you put those things together, Jarvis, and you look at the fact that we're days away from the free agency frenzy, is there one move, in your opinion, to make that can help the Hawks to get significantly better? Or is this about multiple moves that they're going to need to make to be able to get back to contending in the East?
You know what? Like I said, I think that, I think there is one move to be made, right? Because we talking about all the rumors about DeJounte Murray. I was reading those while I was on vacation. I was like, oh, that would be perfect.
Yes.
Bring him in, because, and two reasons why that one move would be a really good one is because he's a two-way guy. He's a two-way player. He's a wing. They have him listed as a point guard, but of course he can play off the ball, with given his size and stature and being able to, guard any guys. And he actually led the league in steals last year. So, he's committed to playing defense.
Yes.
And I think that we all know Landry Fields, the general manager of this team, new general manager of this team, has said it. Like there's two things, right? The mandate, they have to be better. And then two, the only way they can do that is starting on the defensive side. You know what I mean? So if they can handle those two issues, having that off-ball guy that can handle the rock and create his own shot and play defense, I think that it's a no-brainer that will help the Hawks out. Now, we all know that everybody else in the league knows that DeJounte Murray is a very good basketball player, right? So they're going to be teams making phone calls. And it's at the end of the day, it's all about whether or not what type of package the Hawks are going to be able to put together to entice the Spurs. What is John Collins? Do they want John Collins? And, from what I've been reading, it seems like, that the Spurs are doing their homework on Collins. So, and then you hear about, Trae Young and Murray wanting to play together. Murray up here, how I go into a rabbit hole. Like he's working out at New Life, what is the Sampson Center and all that, and hooping over there. And I'm just like, man, it's about to happen. Like make this trade happen right now, man. So, but I think it's but to answer your question, I think there is that one move to make. But if they aren't able to find a two-way guy and somehow end up with Donovan Mitchell, who we know is not that great of a defensive player, and they have to make that secondary move to bring in a wing to bring in a guy who's a defensive specialist, I think they can do that as well. But if I had my druthers, I would like for them to take care of that in that one move. And that's bringing in a guy like DeJounte Murray.
Yes, well, there was so much that you said in there that I want to unpack. But before we unpack that, Jarvis, tell our audience about Athletic Greens. I want to hear all about it too.
Well, as you all know, and I know you probably been looking at me and saying, you know what, man, Jarvis, man, starting to lose some weight, and you're like, man, this dude's starting to look real good. He's starting to shape up. He wearing tight shirts. I've gone down a size in my shirts now, and I'm wearing the muscle shirts. I'm showing off my things. I'm doing my thing, right? Because Athletic Greens is something that can help you get there, right? That's helped me get there. You know what I mean? And when you talk about, you're not having time to work out and all that stuff, and you don't want to take a whole bunch of pills and all that stuff,
Right.
Athletic Greens got you, right? They got you. They're going to take care of you. And you talk about like, okay, what's Athletic Greens, Jarvis, right? It's something that, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food, source superfoods, and probiotics and adaptogens to help you start your day right, because that's what it's all about. You have to get your day started. You're starting off a little sluggish, man. What can I take? What can I do to be able to get through this day? And I think that is something that is going to be able to, Athletic Greens is going to be able to help you do that, right? And I think that, the main thing, how a lot of people are going through the vegans and the paleo and the keto diets. Well, this is lifestyle friendly. This is going to help you. This is keto friendly. It's vegan friendly. It's paleo friendly. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, right? We talking about sugar intake and cutting that down. Everybody is trying to do those things in Athletic Greens. They got you. They got you. All right, but here's what you do. Like, okay, Keith Jarvis, how can I get involved? How can I do it, right? To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily national insurance. Go check out Athletic Greens.
Yeah, it's an amazing option, Jarvis. Like you said, for those of us who can't get to the gym as much as we want to, this at least helps you to keep on your goal for fitness and getting back to good health. And hopefully the Hawks are going to stay on goal as well, because they are quickly approaching this free agency frenzy. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, because really going down the road of DeJounte Murray, it kind of is in one of the camps, if you will. I'll say he kind of splits, because he could go into the backcourt camp. Those who believe that Trey needs an ample partner in that backcourt who is really committed to defense. You talked about the fact that Murray leads the league in steals, or led the league in steals last season. Of course, the Hawks saw it up front and personal as far as what he can do to you, because he averaged 27 points, 13 assists, and 9 rebounds in the games against the Hawks this season. I saw it on the floor, and I thought to myself, man, listen, it would be really nice if that guy was on the other side. But in my mind, that was wishful thinking. Now it could become a reality. And one thing I will say as well is, if the Hawks can get Murray, the Spurs are looking for reportedly 3 first-round draft picks at this point.
Right. Yeah.
I said it last night. You and I have both been on Sports Extra on 11 Alive, so we know, we talk a little bit of sports with our girl Maria Martin, who was here with us last week, and I said it. If it means that you've got to go with a John Collins and you've got to give up an AJ Griffin, as much as you like him, because low key he is committed to two-way play as well. You just didn't get to see his defense as much because of that injury with Duke last season. But if you've got to do that for a proven commodity like DeJounte Murray, I think you have to just give it up. I think you have to give up that first round pick, as much as you hate to.
Yes.
But if that's on the table with John Collins, then you've got to go for that, because low key, we haven't heard a lot of rumors about DeAndre Hunter or Onyeka Okongwu being packaged. So there might be some possibility that the Hawks are kind of confident about what they have in that wing space. Can't really do anything with Clint Capella. So then that leaves you with somebody like a DeJounte Murray who could give you something in that backcourt. But there could be some others out there as well, because as you know, the Blazers were going after OG Anunoby hard, fast, and furious, and that deal fell through. So if he is still on the table and the Raptors are willing to talk, who knows? A guy that also sometimes single-handedly destroyed the Hawks might actually be on the other side next season. It's on the other side for the culture. We got a little anniversary coming up that we want to tell you guys about. And if you want to hear about how it all started and how it's going, come back on the other side for ATL.
Final segment of ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to thank you for rocking with us throughout the entire show. I just want to say, I know everybody has mentioned this already, but I got to mention it because I just really, really am thankful for you all, because you guys got us over 2,000 subscribers. I think we're at 2,100 now. You guys are just rocking with us throughout the entire time. And if you haven't subscribed to us, what are you waiting on? My goodness, you are late. I'm not gonna, but however, you still got time. Just go ahead and go to our YouTube. Go to YouTube.com. Type in the search box, Locked On Sports Atlanta, and we will pop right up any one of those videos. You can do ATL Day Ones. You can do Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, A to Z with Mark Zeno. Hit that subscribe button wherever you go, and because we got a lot of good stuff here, right, just for you. Because this is why we do it. We do it for you. We do it for you, and we just want to say thank you for continuing to, support us and what we got going on right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Now, T, this is for the culture. It is the intersection between sports, entertainment, and the culture, and whatever the heck we want to talk about. Just because that's just how we get down. That's who we are. That's what we do. And I don't know about you, T, but, again, I didn't get a chance to kind of, chime in on the NBA Finals after they concluded. But I think that there is still a little meat on the bone, because you sent me this very, very good video of Steph Curry talking about his career when he first came into the league, when they had the Warriors had those ugly uniforms, the orange and the dark orange and blue, and
right.
they had all the just really dealing as far as what they want to do as far as an organization. But Steph Curry was a guy that kind of he spoke what he wanted to do. Like, he's talking about winning multiple championships, and the conversations that kind of made my stomach hurt a little bit during the finals, where people were like, oh, he has to win the finals MVP in order to be considered one of the best of all time, which is total crap. And here's why, and I'm going to knock that out right now, and I want to get your thoughts as well. When you have a guy, Steph Curry came into the league, when you have a guy that changes the way the game of basketball is played, like, he's the reason why bigs have to be able to switch on everybody and guard everybody on the court 1 through 5, and teams are. And it's okay for guys like Trae Young and Ja Morant to take these long behind 3-pointers, right? And he made that okay. He made that like, okay, all right, you pulling from the logo, but, we prefer you not do that. But okay, since Steph is doing it and they compared you to Steph when you came into the league, I guess it's okay. But I think that, when you have a guy like Steph and what he's accomplished, what he's been able to accomplish, 4 championships, changing the way the game is played and the way all the youngsters that have become behind him, the way they play and how they've played the game and stretching the floor beyond half court almost. Right. I think that you have to have him in the conversation as a top 15 player of all time.
I also think that what makes him arguably top 15 of all time is the other areas that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. Right. When you watch a Warriors game, one of the most beautiful things is to see Steph Curry do a backdoor cut. He moves so fluidly without the ball. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, because when he's moving without the ball, that's getting it going for everybody on that court. So I wanted to point out that part of his game. The other piece is this, because of course we know a lot of these top 15 conversations are about comparisons, right? And how you can attempt to make an apples to apples comparison across generations. Very difficult to do, by the way, because the game, like you said, he's changed the way the game is played. The game is played differently across generations. But my mind did go to Michael Jordan and the fact that we're talking about a guy who waited 7 long years to get his first championship, right? But then we're talking about a guy who also, once he got it, 2 3-peats, and did those 2 3-peats with a different set and a different cast of characters other than Scottie Pippen, right? So you had iterations of Steve Kerr coming in and out, B.J. Armstrong coming in and out, Dennis Rodman coming in and out. You different bigs, if you will, that he played with, from a Luke Longley to all the
Bill
other
Cartwright,
yeah, Bill Cartwright. Yep, I was like, I'm looking at his face, I can't think of his name, but Bill Cartwright. And then, but he's still able to get it done. I look at that same space with Steph Curry, right? Other than Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, yes, that's his big 3, but there have been moving parts all along. And so one time it's Kevin Durant, and he might get the finals MVP, or it might be Andre Iguodala and he might get the finals MVP. So 2 things. Number 1, he, like Michael Jordan, had a different cast of characters along this 4 title ride, right? But
Mm-hmm.
he's been the mainstay. He's been the steady. And don't go with just what he did in the finals round. Let's talk about what he did throughout the postseason of each of those runs and all the runs that even got him to the NBA finals, right? And you will see consistent performance. And you'll also see from Steph Curry a guy who not only was able to do it with a different cast of characters and do it at a high level, but also continuing to evolve his game based on whatever defenses tried to do. And
Right.
that's a very unique and I think underrated aspect of his game that I just
Mm.
wanted to throw out there. And finally, miss me with that MVP finals.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
no offense, because I like Iggy as a player. I liked him back in the Sixers days and love the fact that he's back with the Warriors. But real
Mm-hmm.
talk, that guy got MVP finals and okay, whatever. I mean, let's not predicate it on that because Andre Iguodala was an MVP finalist, if you will, and he's one of the players in that entire roster. But you want to talk about players in a certain space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about BlueNile.com. Why? Because like Steph Curry is an original, they are an original to the original online jeweler to what they call high income adults, 100 grand or more. Six figures is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily male, 25 looking to get engaged or gift fine jewelry, but hey, really it's any audience that wants to buy from that consumer. And it's I think it's really interesting because so much is going online and you're still able to get a high quality product. So you
Mm-hmm.
can make that special moment with your special someone sparkle. And basically, our listeners, our Locked On Sports Atlanta listeners, you guys get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusively includes engagements. Again, use that code locked on. That's code locked on. Plus, every order is insured. Insured, you ship free. It arrives in discreet packaging. And that's important because you know how we have these people who kind of sit around and wait around for packages these days. Not going to
Yeah.
happen. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen for you. So just go to BlueNile.com and you can get all the details about this amazing original online offering just for you guys.
Yeah, and speaking of special, this is a special day because, you know, for the culture, this segment is branded this way, right? But we, used to do a podcast before we started this one, and it is the anniversary of when we actually started doing a podcast together. So, you guys have been rocking with us since we started here at Locked On Sports Atlanta, but we definitely want to acknowledge that, hey, we've been doing this thing. We've
Yeah,
been getting our groove. They're like, you guys have such great chemistry. It's the reason why. Because
right.
we've been doing this thing for, I think at least three. I think it's for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Yep.
3 years in the running, and including Locked On Sports Atlanta right here. So we just want to take a little time to acknowledge that not only you can get some specials and get some deals and acknowledge a special moment as far as with Blue Nile, but we want to acknowledge a special moment with For the Culture, Jarvis Davis and Tenitra Batiste. We've been rocking with each other, and it's just been a beautiful thing. And T, I wish to many more years of
Yes.
doing this thing together.
Absolutely. Because, like you said, we started off with a show back in our days at Clark Atlanta University, had a studio show there, and then COVID shut that down. But Jarvis and I wanted to keep moving. So we would go, we went IG for a little while. We also did another stream through YouTube and just kind of kept that momentum going. And then, of course, we had our show on 92.9 The Game together. But all of those pieces really have led to this wonderful opportunity here with Locked On Sports Atlanta. So yeah, we've been rocking together for a couple years now. You guys have been rocking with us for all that time, and we appreciate you. And keep on rocking with us and telling other people about us as your first stop. And then as the second stop, tell them to check out Hitting Hard with John Chuckery. That's another one of our guys who's been supportive with us from day one and who's a part of this amazing Locked On Sports Atlanta family. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by. And tomorrow we are going to have some more conversation about the Braves, kind of previewing what's going to happen when they head up to Philly for that 3-game series. And who knows? It's a soap opera in the NBA all day, every day, getting up to free agency frenzy. So we might have some conversation about that too. You guys have a great afternoon, and thanks again for sticking around.
Y'all come back now, you hear?